guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. My apologies for not having a video yet this week until this evening. I have been super exhausted. I think I have a bit of fibro flare-up going on, but as they say, life goes on, and for sure, true crime never stops. But today I have there's a missing 18-year-old who has been missing for about 4 days as of today. His name is Giovanni Pelletier. He was vacationing with his family over in Englewood, Florida, which is Charlotte County. Now that got me confused for a second because he's actually from North Carolina, and there's a Charlotte County in North Carolina. So I've seen some write-ups on this that are a little bit confusing. So there is a Charlotte County in Florida as well. So he left their home on August 1st, which would have been Friday, around 1:30 a.m. To visit more family over in Brevard County. Why he left at 1:30 in the morning, I don't know. But, you know, everybody has their time of day they prefer to travel. And some people like to get up dark and early and travel and, you know, to go to their next destination if they're going somewhere. Now, according to the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, Giovanni was traveling on Interstate 75 north with cousins. He had cousins in the car with him, so he was not solo in this vehicle. When his cousins stated that he started acting erratically and suddenly exited the vehicle. And then he started walking away near State Road 70 over in Manatee County. Now, this whole situation, according to the cousins, of course, they were the last ones to have seen Giovanni, is very, very strange. But it's a very strange situation, so I don't know if he had some sort of a message from somebody or if he has some sort of, you know, intuition about something. That I don't know. He apparently sent a text to his mother also stating that he needed help. So I don't know exactly why he would have gotten out, you know, en route on Interstate 75 on his way to Brevard County. It's a very, very odd thing. But we have heard of this sort of thing happening before. You know, we've heard of younger folks, especially driving somewhere, and all of a sudden, you know, they find their vehicle or what have you, and they themselves, they're gone. You know, I can think of a couple right offhand. I know Aiden Clune, over, you know, on the other side of the country there, he had an issue. I don't know if it was a mental issue, some sort of an issue. It doesn't really matter at that point. And he exited his vehicle, decided to take a walk. He's yet to be found. So this is not something that's just never happens. It does happen. But I definitely would say there's a lot more questions and unknowns than anything else. So he's had family that came out on Monday. There was a large search done. They had ATVs, drones. It was about 20 people from what I understand. They were searching over in Mims off of Hammock Road. After receiving an anonymous tip, I guess somebody may have spotted him or allegedly thought that was him. But that would mean that he made it over in that vicinity, because that would be Brevard County. So again, this is 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier, and I can tell you he has a lot of family and friends very, very concerned about his well-being. You know, just in my search, I saw his grandfather. He's got, you know, his mama, you know, obviously his cousins, lots of folks are wondering, where is Giovanni?
Family vacation turns into a search here in Central Florida. This 18-year-old boy was last seen on Friday right before he went to visit family in Brevard County. And Fox 35's Esther Bauer is hearing from his family.
Okay, so this is obviously Fox 35. You guys have seen me use them many times. They are one of my local affiliates over here in Central Florida. And they were out at the scene during the search yesterday that, like I said, had about 20 people out there with ATVs and drones, and of course law enforcement as well.
This 18-year-old has been missing since early Friday morning, and Giovanni Pelletier's family is spreading their search to the Space Coast.
We've been searching for like 3 days in Bradenton County and stuff like that, and we haven't found anything, so we're just pretty much searching literally where we can.
The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office says Giovanni was vacationing with his family in Englewood before leaving around 1:30 in the morning on Friday to visit more family in Brevard County. Investigators say he was traveling north on I-75 with his cousins, who told detectives Giovanni suddenly began to act erratically before getting out of the car and walking away near State Road 70 in Manatee County.
We don't know anything. Only thing we know is that they said they dropped him off on the road.
Giovanni doesn't live in Florida and is from North Carolina. News of his disappearance is spreading like wildfire on social media, and tips are pouring in.
We had just got a bunch of anonymous tips to check this road.
That's why this search party set out on Hammock Road in Mims searching for signs.
My cousin Giovanni was missing for almost 4 days now, and we just want him to come home.
All of these vehicles lining the road were full of friends, family, and volunteers who came out here on Monday morning doing whatever they could to help try and find this missing young man.
I'm super grateful for all the help.
His cousins are thankful for community support, but very concerned.
He didn't leave on his own. He would have been called his mom.
Do you think he was harmed?
I don't know. I don't want to answer that one.
Brevard County deputies were also on scene and spoke with the family during the search. If you know anything about what could have happened to Giovanni, please call 941-639-2101.
Now, I realize the reporter, they have to ask stuff, but that's like an awful question to ask his mama, you know? But again, this is a very sad situation. It just reminds me of Aiden Clune so much. It's just like random, get out of your car, and you're just gone. And like I said, there's, you know, a couple others I know. I could definitely, I'm sure I could do a quick Google search and find others similar, but Aiden Clune immediately comes to mind. So what happened to Giovanni? That is the ultimate question today. And yesterday would have been day 4. So today is day 5. Today, Tuesday, August 5th. So there's a bit more information coming out on Facebook and some of the other social media platforms. I've noticed in a lot of these cases, I mean, yeah, we get a lot of rumors, speculation, all that sort of stuff, but they can also be very, very, very helpful. And so this one, there's a lot more information here. Now, the last text he sent his mom, it actually stated, "Help me, Mom." Now, that's got to break his mama's heart, because he sent that at 1:51 a.m. before he was just gone, you know, out of that vehicle with his cousins. So what happened in under 30 minutes from him leaving the one home in Charlotte County? That's the question. Now, again, the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office is searching for an 18-year-old who disappeared while vacationing with his family in Englewood. And they're, of course, repeating that they left at 1:30 a.m. to visit more family in Brevard County. Now, what this particular page actually gives us is that he was in the car with these 3 men who are identified as his cousins. Apparently they had only spoken over the phone, and they claim to be relatives of his father. So that gives more question to who were these three people. And that makes you wonder, well, is that why he got out of the car? Because something, was threatening there. But Morgan Hull, cousin of Giovanni, said he was picked up by a few boys from his dad's side of the family. People he had never met in person, only talked to over the phone. See, that to me would just have alarm bells going off and red flags. But I also think guys are a little less, nervous or a little less gut feeling than women. That's my impression, but I think that also depends upon the person. She added they were trying to connect, and they drove from Mims, Florida to Englewood, Florida. So they had originally driven him to Englewood. Okay, so then on the way back that morning, they claimed there was an argument, and they left him on the side of the road, and his phone and backpack were found about a half-mile up the road. So what did these three guys argue with Giovanni about? And obviously they didn't care enough about their newfound relative to actually care that he got out of the car in the middle of the morning, in the middle of the night, all by himself. And probably a place he doesn't know very well. The cousin, Morgan Hull, indicated that the whole truth about the circumstances that are leading up to his disappearance is not being revealed. So, again, what the hell happened in that car in those 21 minutes? She goes on to say, you don't leave someone on the side of the road and think nobody's gonna say anything. Giovanni Pelletier is missing, and we know y'all ain't telling the full truth. His phone was found thrown down the highway, and now nobody's seen or heard from him since. I agree with this cousin. The family is offering a $10,000 reward for any tips leading to Giovanni or the arrest of those involved in his disappearance. So what the hell do these three cousins, and I'm going to say that with quotes around it, okay, what do these cousins know? Because I think they know a hell of a lot more. And hopefully law enforcement's got it out of them. And we may not know right away. But I pray that this young man is okay. And it's possible he's found somewhere safe to stay. But again, it's very, very concerning, that he got out of the car and they found his phone and his backpack. Why would you leave your phone? Even if he had no service. I don't think that's very suspicious to me for sure. And this is Daniel Soto. He is one of the grandfathers of Giovanni. He posted this on his Facebook, and I've tried to blow it up so you guys can hopefully read it, but I'm going to read it to you. Giovanni Pelletier, August 1st, 2025. Missing person. The time is now 1:51 a.m. It is August 1st, 2025. The last message she ever received from her son was chilling in its simplicity. Help me, Mom. And just like that, he was gone. He had been raised under the steady hand of his mother, wrapped in the warmth of a close-knit family where loyalty and love were never in short supply. But at just 18, he was lured by the promise of connection, an unexpected bond that sparked over the phone with three young men who claimed to share his blood, his father's kin. They planned a trip, just the four of them. No parents, no questions, just trust. He packed a bag with hope in his chest, but somewhere along the journey, something went terribly wrong. Their journey began in Mims, Florida. He misspelled that, but that's okay. in Mims, Florida, and led them several hours south to Englewood. According to those who knew about the trip, everything appeared to go as planned, at least until the ride home. The three men who had traveled with him gave their names as Latrell Hearns, a man only known as Jalen, and another named Zach, who was later identified as Leandre Trayvon Hearns. When questioned, they claimed that an argument broke out in the car on the way back. They said they dropped Giovanni off on the side of the highway. Sometime later, a truck passing through that same stretch of road noticed debris on the asphalt. He stopped to move it, thinking it might be trash, until he saw what it really was: a backpack and a broken cell phone. He turned the items over to law enforcement. They were identified as belonging to Giovanni. According to the three men, Giovanni was dropped off just 10 minutes from home. Just a few steps, almost within sight of safety, so close that the lights of his neighborhood might have flickered in the distance. So why didn't he come home? Law enforcement eventually located the white Chevy Malibu and the three men who had last been seen with him, but answers didn't come easy. In the hours that followed, whispers began to surface, rumors from within the families of the men involved. They claimed that all four had smoked something that night, that Giovanni became violent, that he pulled a knife, that the others disarmed him, forced him out of the car, and later discarded his cell phone and backpack along the road. Yet that same family member would state that they all pray for his safety. The same family member of the men would later suggest that Giovanni had simply run away. But from what? Why would a young man run from the very people who had stood by him his entire life, a family who loved him unconditionally, supported him through every chapter, and took pride in the kind, respectful person he had become? The same family member that changed the story again, claiming that Giovanni wasn't dropped on the side of the highway at all, but instead at a Circle K convenience store. She insisted there were witnesses who saw him there. But if that were true, if he'd truly been dropped off at a Circle K and the others had taken his cell phone, why wouldn't Giovanni have gone inside and used the store's phone to call his mother? She was only minutes away, likely still awake, likely waiting to hear the sound of his footsteps at the door, especially after the 1:51 a.m. text message, "Help me, Mom." These shifting accounts only deepen the uncertainty. Each new version of events seems crafted to distance the three men from responsibility, but none of them answer the one question that matters most. It's a version of events laced with contradictions. The original story only stated there was an argument. There was no mention of an altercation. They genuinely hoped Giovanni would be found safe. Then why leave him alone on a dark roadside at 2 a.m.? Why keep his phone? Why toss his bag? And why not call his mother, who was waiting just minutes away? Those questions still hang heavy in the air because Giovanni never made it home, and someone knows why. Where is Giovanni? Anyone with information is urged to contact the Bradenton Police Department. You can call emergency 911, non-emergency 941-932-9300, Criminal Investigations Detectives 941-932-9304, Crime Prevention Unit 941-932-9328. We don't need, obviously, the media requests. Their address is 100 10th Street West, Bradenton, Florida 34205. And anonymous tips are also welcome via the Manatee County Crimestoppers, which is available 24/7 at 866-634-TIPS or 866-634-8477. Tipsters may be eligible for a reward up to $1,000. There's also a $1,000 reward being offered by the family. I don't know about you guys, but this is very, very suspicious. I've only started really looking into it in the last day, and there's a lot of contradictions. I agree with his grandfather. A lot of them. So these three guys are allegedly long lost family from his father's side. They never really knew each other in person until just recently during this trip. They supposedly did some rugs or smoked something, and they had an altercation, and then they kicked him out of the vehicle. That's what they're claiming. Okay, well, they originally claimed there was an altercation, and they didn't even mention that part. And then, of course, they changed their story again and said they didn't drop him off on the side of the highway. They dropped him off at a Circle K convenience store. So which is it, guys? I know the detectives are not going to be pleased with these gentlemen, and I hope that they are getting some answers, because this is very, very strange. And, you know, when stories don't stay consistent, you know there's something strange going on. We always know that. The truth never changes. The only things that change are when you make up crap. When you're making up a story, and it's already changed at least 2 or 3 times, as we can see, since he disappeared on Friday morning. I pray and hope that Giovanni is safe somewhere, and he's just somehow not been able to contact his family. But this is a very, very strange case and situation. Again, I have the poster on the screen, so if you happen to know anything, please do reach out to law enforcement or Crimestoppers, so that this young man can be reunited with his family. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.